Hello and welcome to a special live edition of our City Current show. On this Giving Tuesday, I'm your host, Andrew Bartolotta. Today we're joined by Sarah Bartolotta. Hey, you have the same last name as mine. Are we related?
Small world. We must be related some way, somehow.
We are. Sarah is my sister-in-law and I love her dearly. She's also the marketing and communications manager at Palmer Home for Children. And today we're really going to discuss the profound impact of Giving Tuesday on nonprofits and the communities at large. As you may know, today is Giving Tuesday, and it's become a global movement that started in 2012. And its focus is to celebrate generosity, kindness, and encourage support for nonprofit organizations. So, Memphis has over 12,000 registered nonprofits, the greater Memphis area. And so, just even locally here in the Mid South, this day presents a unique opportunity for community engagement and support. So let's dive into the heart of Giving Tuesday and explore how it aids important missions like that of Palmer Home for Children. So, Sarah, thanks again for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of
I'm
course.
happy.
So, let's first start off with a brief overview of Palmer Home for Children and how you and your team use this Global Give Back Day to help share your mission.
Of course. So, Palmer Home for Children is a privately funded nonprofit organization that serves children in need of care. So, we have a campus that serves children who come to us from all over the country, but it is located just outside of Memphis in Hernando, Mississippi. We provide residential care, and that is a really unique form of care because we have a lot of children who come to us who are in sibling groups who would otherwise be separated. So it's a really wonderful way to make sure that we can really focus on keeping families together and really focusing on a family dynamic. We also have foster care that's offered through homes, more like traditional uh, foster care where people welcome children into their homes. And then we also have family care, which is based in Nashville. We provide foster care for children of women who are incarcerated in the National Women's Prison. And so when they are either when they are in prison and they are pregnant and they have to choose where their children are going to go, or if they are incarcerated and already have children, they know that their children are going to be cared for, that they're going to be able to maintain a relationship with their children, and that their children are going to get the vital resources they need until they can be reunified. And then we also have transitional care, which is a really outstanding program. There's not a lot of organizations in the world that offer something like transitional care. And transitional care serves young adults ages 18 to 24 who either were formerly in foster care at a young age, or who are young adults who have no resources. They have no access to resources. They have no familial connections. And they are provided with help with education, career resources, so that they can focus on education, and they can focus on their career, and they can have housing and nutritional needs and all of that met.
Well, I love the work that you and your team are doing is tremendous. I've been able to visit the campus firsthand and see the work in action, but also knowing the heart of your team. It's really tremendous to be able to walk into a nonprofit organization and feel like you're home. And so not only for donors and for volunteers, but for the children that you work with on a daily basis and families, it's so important to have this loving community that you feel safe and secure. And Palmer Home for Children does such a tremendous job at that. So I want to commend you and your team for that because, like I said, I've had a few opportunities to come hang out with y'all, and your team and leadership is just, it's like I've known everyone for so long. Everyone is so heartwarming, and the hospitality that Palmer Home for Children provides is unmatched. So let's switch gears a little bit, and then we'll weave Palmer Home for Children in this conversation as well. You are also an expert in digital media and graphic design and marketing communications, which is really fun to have in our family because we get to nerd out while our spouses get to nerd out on sports and pop culture and such.
It's
So,
neat.
yeah, so it's fun. Looking back at last year's Giving Tuesday, there was a record breaking $3.1 billion donated in the US on Giving Tuesday. And this is just in the United States alone, which is really cool to see the impact that this idea built in 2012 has really fostered throughout these 11 years. Why do you think Giving Tuesday has become such an important part of really the Thanksgiving holiday lineup and how important it is for nonprofits?
I think it is important for two reasons. I think from a marketing perspective, from the nonprofit side of things, holidays can be really tricky because it's if you have ever received or given a donation to a local nonprofit, you probably receive a lot of the mailed appeals in the mail this time of year. And that is because the holidays are very, very busy for a lot of nonprofits. And you with three children, you know this well, but children need coats, they need shoes, they need clothing, and that doesn't stop. If anything, it ramps up during the holidays. And as a nonprofit that serves children and families, the holidays are vital for us to have funding because we're also providing holiday gifts and meals to families. And one of the things that I think happens is that, the holidays can become so busy and we can become so siloed that we can forget that those needs don't stop. If anything, they increase for nonprofits. And so, from a marketing perspective, it's really wonderful for us to have a way to encourage people just to be reminded on a specific day. And it's strategically placed between Thanksgiving and Christmas for this very reason that Thanksgiving is here. We've just celebrated Thanksgiving, Christmas is coming up. And we know that you and your family are planning and preparing and doing all the things. But on this one day, just take an opportunity to find a cause that you care about, and from the marketing perspective, to educate people on what we're doing, because we have found that a number of people who give to us in Giving Tuesday have never given before. They have found out about us through people sharing our mission. Because it's Giving Tuesday, other people are sharing. And I always encourage people to do this. I am the marketing and communications manager for Palmer Home, but even as someone who grew up in the Memphis area, I encourage every single person I know, share about a cause that you care about. Make a list. Here are 5, nonprofits that are doing amazing work in the community, and share. And so it's vital to get the word out about what we do. As you mentioned, there's 12,000 in the Memphis area, and that's quite a lot of people, boots on the ground, doing a lot of things, meeting a lot of needs. And I know that there's someone that follows you or related to you or that works with you that hasn't heard about one that you are passionate about. And then from the other perspective, from just the average everyday person, even if you don't work for a nonprofit, even if you are just someone in the community who wants to make a difference, it is an opportunity for you to, as an individual or as an organization, it's a great opportunity to volunteer for an organization. Maybe you make a day of it as a team and you go volunteer and serve. But as a family as well, I encourage people to take Giving Tuesday to just sit down today with your spouse or with your kids and pick a cause that you care about. Maybe, your kids really love animals, so you want to give to the animal shelter, or maybe you sit down and you plan throughout the year, pick one for every month. We're going to pick 12 causes we really care about. And so even though Giving Tuesday is today, one day out of the year, it is really a wonderful opportunity for us to just take a pause, take a step back, remember that we all have the ability to do good in the world, and there's good in the world. And last year, 35 million people gave for Giving Tuesday. And if every one of those people only gave $10, that could be $350 million alone that could impact nonprofits. So even just $10, it's not about the amount. It's not about it's about the heart behind it, and the impact together. The combined impact can have a significant and powerful movement. So yeah.
Well said. And it really is cool because it is a compounding effect of how people can rally around a mission and advocacy area that they believe in, but also be aware of the incredible work going on in our communities around the globe. And so let's debunk some of the Giving Tuesday myths that we've heard. So some of them that I've heard and even have talked about in our sphere of influence is that, like, Giving Tuesday is all about financial donations, which, yes, in a way, donations are crucial. it is a crucial time for nonprofits as the end of the year giving for corporations, for families, before tax season and whatnot. But it also provides the opportunity, like you mentioned, to celebrate those nonprofits and showcase ways that you can give back. And so you've got volunteering time, you've got donating goods. Spreading awareness is also super important. So I love that you mentioned about, sharing 5 nonprofits in your area that you believe in or people should give back to, either through monetary donations or through action and rolling up their sleeves and volunteering. And so there's one myth. But I also, as someone who works in the nonprofit sector, I want you to sort of dive into this one. The one misconception is that only big campaigns succeed on Giving Tuesday, or it's only for large nonprofits.
Yeah, that's a big one. I do think a lot of times, in general, the more exposure you have, obviously, the more impact you can have. So a lot of people have heard about St. Jude, and I think we who grew up in Memphis or live in Memphis tend to forget it is a global thing that people know about. And so, of course, St. Jude is probably going to bring in a larger financial um, amount than a lot of local nonprofits, but that is really the heart behind Giving Tuesday, is to highlight and spotlight those organizations that they may not serve the number of children that St. Jude does, but even if a nonprofit is feeding 25 families in a certain area, that is 25 families who have found hope and healing this year. And so I think that it's really amazing to see how many people tend to get involved in Giving Tuesday who don't work in marketing, who don't work for a nonprofit, because I think it's the time of year where people want to see the good. They want to believe there's good in the world, and there is. And it's a great reminder that there are a lot of organizations and people that are existing to try to make an impact in our communities. And so if we as people who are passionate about these causes can share more about it, then it can have an impact. And so I would argue that the impact is largely based on the word of mouth that we in our communities are, how much we are talking about it, how much we are informing others and sharing about these causes, and not just the nonprofits themselves.
Absolutely. And I think what's really cool too is, like, what if you were to just utilize your social media platform for one day on Giving Tuesday and say, I'm not going to post a selfie. I'm not going to post about what I'm eating or where I'm going. I'm going to post about the nonprofits that I care about. And they can be in my backyard. They can be global. They can be ones that I want to work with in the future. And I think that would be so cool to be able to sort of just say, I'm going to use my platform, personal brand, and really just the real estate on social media to say, I'm going to amplify the work of nonprofits to share the good that they're doing. So, as a social media expert and in the field every day, what role does social media play in promoting Giving Tuesday campaigns? And maybe give a few ideas. It is Giving Tuesday, but it's not too late. So there may be some smaller nonprofits today that go, okay, we didn't have the bandwidth or the communications team to build out this really robust Giving Tuesday platform, but we know it's today. What can we do to move the needle on a fundraising campaign, capital campaign, or really just the advocacy of the work that we're doing today?
Yeah, that is a great question. And as someone who works in marketing for a nonprofit, I can speak to this because when you work for a nonprofit and you work in marketing, you a lot of times have a lot of different hats and you do a lot of different things, because in the nonprofit world, our goal is to be as efficient as possible so that every donation we get can go as far as possible. And so a lot of smaller nonprofits in particular do not have someone who can focus on, making in-house design, graphics, marketing for a particular day. And so especially for like smaller or newer nonprofits, maybe they have three team members, maybe between, those three team members, they are actually boots on the ground, serving meals in their communities or serving the homeless every single day. And the more that we as an individual in our community can get the word out, the more that it serves them. because in their efficiency, in their desire to serve as well as possible, they don't have someone, just sitting at the computer all day, just sharing social posts every 5 minutes. And that is vital. And so a lot of the work that we do, our entire marketing team is on campus serving the kids. And so even during days like today, there's I'm there a lot in person, not now, right? It's this very moment, but there's a lot of work that goes into the actual operating. And so the more that people can partner with us to share our mission and actually come alongside us and get the word out, the more that members of every nonprofit are actually having even more of an impact through their serving.
Yes, and I think echoing your work and what you're saying on engaging and mobilizing your audience is key because you're able to shine a spotlight, amplify the work that you're doing. Some of the tips or resources I would give for today for smaller nonprofits is you have a board of directors as a 501c3. And so, okay, how can you inspire your board of directors to share the story of why they serve with you? So maybe not even the volunteer level, but just, the board of directors, your team, staff, you may be a small and mighty team, but sharing the why of your purpose and passion for said nonprofit is a way to share the good work that you're doing, utilizing the hashtag Giving Tuesday, of course, tagging local media in that, and what you're doing, or go live like we are, utilizing live streaming features, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Sometimes it can be daunting going live on social media and seeing what will come of it, but maybe you're in the field and that's the perfect time to go live. Maybe you didn't have time, like we said, to craft this really fancy campaign for Giving Tuesday. That's okay. I think being really transparent and showing the work that you're doing in the field, if that's what you're doing today, like go ahead and go live for just 30 seconds and maybe ask your executive director a few questions about the work that you are doing, or depending on the impact area and the work, the individuals that you're working with, maybe you can talk to them beforehand and say, hey, can you say a few things about the work that we've been able to provide you and how that's made an impact? So I think utilizing social media, of course, is so smart when it comes to days like today, because you don't have to have a ginormous team to be able to move the needle in your work for the community. Talk about specifically how Palmer Home for Children has utilized Giving Tuesday to advance their mission.
Yeah, so we have, again, I think I mentioned before, but we a lot of times have people who donate to us who have never heard of us before. They will let us know in their donation, this is, I heard about you from my friend who shared about you today. And so it's a really powerful reminder for us that a lot of times word of mouth can be one of the most effective ways for a nonprofit to get the word out. Because, of course, I can share with people what we do, I can talk about our mission, but for someone who has been a mentor or someone who has fostered a child to say to the people in their circle, I had this opportunity to see this work in action, can have a more tremendous impact on someone than it coming from obviously the marketing team. And so it really is vital for us to share what we see and experience when we encounter nonprofits. It really, the testimonials, if you will, are incredible ways for them to build their toolbox of resources and build their programs and just get the word out. And we also, the work that we do, we find that it's incredibly beneficial for something like Giving Tuesday to be able to share with people what we do, because then 2-3 months or even 2 years down the road, someone who had never heard of us, maybe they weren't able to give financially, but when there was a situation that came up in their life where they had a neighbor or a coworker who needed someone who could take in their neighbor's children, their coworkers' children, and they wanted to make sure those siblings were not going to be separated. It's not just about financial donations. It's not just about monetary donations. It is about making sure that we connect people with resources. And one of the things that I love about Giving Tuesday is when we share, this is my why. You mentioned sharing your why. You would be surprised how many times I have encountered situations where I've shared my why, and I've had someone be like, I didn't know that was your story. That's my story too. And they wouldn't have known that if it weren't for me sharing why I'm passionate about the work that we do. And so it's not just about supporting nonprofits, it's about supporting our communities, it's about supporting ourselves, it's about connection, it's about connecting with other people and just working to make the world a better place, one initiative at a time.
I love it. That's so well said. And I think also when we're talking about like what's your calling card, what's your passion, adoption is something that is very near and dear to our heart because, as you know, your niece and nephew were adopted, are Emily and Jackson, and so Lacey and I, adoption is very close to our heart. So working with uh, organizations that provide housing for foster care and for adoption and for birth parents across the nation is something that is our sort of advocacy area, our calling card that we go to. So I would think, if you're listening to this today and you're not in the nonprofit sector or you don't have the financial resources to give this Giving Tuesday, and I would say, okay, one, think about you and your family's calling card. Like, what drives you every day? What is your story? And what is a nonprofit locally, globally, small, large, that you can rally behind and help them with the work that they're doing in their mission? Because that's a way that speaks volumes, because donations, yes, are very important, but our CEO at City Current, Jeremy Park, always says a dollar bill doesn't walk, talk, mentor a child. It's people that do that. And so, yes, money is very important, but it's the people behind it that fuel the impact that is being made. And so, I love that you were saying about how you telling your story really helps others understand the importance of the mission of both your organization and the work today here at with Giving Tuesday. So, lastly, okay, where can people go to learn more about you, Sarah? Where can they follow your efforts? You continually share great information, both from the nonprofit communication side, but also share where people can give this Giving Tuesday for Palmer Home for Children.
Yeah, so Palmer Home, we are on all major social media platforms, and people can learn more about us at palmerhome.org. You can also learn more about events coming up. We have a number of fundraisers throughout the year, and we also have a number of ways to get involved, whether you are interested in being a mentor or providing respite care, providing temporary care for our caregivers so they can have a date night or a vacation or night out. Or if you're interested in becoming a foster parent, you can go to palmerhome.org/support and you can learn more there. Financial donations obviously help support our mission, but there are a number of ways that people can learn more and get involved. And then I will be sharing more today on LinkedIn. I am so passionate about Giving Tuesday and all the opportunities that it provides. So I will be sharing more about Giving Tuesday in general. So stay tuned there if you're interested in learning more about the history of Giving Tuesday.
Fantastic. And as we wrap up, it's the giving season, of course, because it's Giving Tuesday, but we're sandwiched between Thanksgiving and Christmas. We've got the new year coming up. As you look at 2024, what is a piece of advice that you would give to nonprofit communications professionals at large as well, on utilizing social media, digital media tools, maybe even AI tools to really move the needle in their organization and expand their presence?
Two things are coming to mind for me. So, number one would be authenticity and transparency. I love what you just said about nonprofits making an effort to say, if you can't give today, that's okay. You can support us by giving your testimonial and sharing by word of mouth. That means as much to us as a donation does. And the second thing that I would say is using tools like going live and sharing behind the scenes, because especially when you are a nonprofit where you are serving in your community and serving children and families, people want to see what's going on. And we do have boundaries around what we share because we value the privacy of the children that we serve. And we want to make sure that we're not always putting their name in their face on social media. They have their own story to share when and if they choose. But we do try to give people behind the scenes looks at what's going on campus and ways that their donations, their volunteer hours, and their support are making a tangible difference in the lives of children in our community.
Well, thank you for coming on the show, a special live edition of the City Current show, and for being such a light both at Palmer Home for Children, but also working with such an incredible team for a very important mission. And thank you for talking about Giving Tuesday and how we can use the power of collective action to power the good during this spirit of giving.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And yeah, I encourage everyone to go out and share more about nonprofits you love today. Celebrate Giving Tuesday.